All right. Welcome to another episode of Connect and Politic. We're here with a special guest. Please introduce yourself by telling us your name, where you're currently located, and your favorite snack.
My name is Tralana. I'm located in Cincinnati, Ohio. My favorite snack has to be the thin, like tortilla chips, and then like guacamole, but not like regular guacamole, like with the really big onions in it, and lots of lime, and that's my most favorite snack.
And
chips and guacamole.
okay, so I take it the chips you'll probably get from the store, but the guac you're making it at home.
9 times out of 10, I make it at home, and if I don't make it at home, it's got to be like from a authentic, restaurant or from Chipotle at the very least, because they make theirs from scratch.
Yeah.
The processed stuff, I've tried it, and I always have to add stuff to it, like larger onion chunks and larger pieces of guacamole. So yeah, I prefer it handmade.
Nice. You remember your favorite food as a child?
My favorite food as a child, I would have to say, was probably Chinese food. And I would say chicken fried rice, because in my house, it was like taboo. Like when my parents ordered it, like the kids were only allowed to have the chicken fried rice. And then when they ordered like the pepper steak and the other stuff, they would hide it in the refrigerator. So me and my sister would run across it, and we'd be like, oh, we found the Chinese food. And we like nibble off of it until like it gets to the point of no return. And then we're just like, fuck it, just finish it, eat it. And so I would have to say like Chinese food, most definitely, because it was definitely a thing that once we got our hands on it, it was all downhill.
Yeah. That's crazy. What was it, from a special spot, or it didn't matter?
I think back when I was a kid, we didn't really know, but now, like, my favorite spot has to be China Chef. Their dumplings, you know how some places give you just a little bit of like the inside of the dumpling, the meat or the cheese for the ragoons or whatever? No, they go cold-hearted hard on it. It's just like the whole meatball, and they wrap it, and it's totally a different experience. They don't skip. So China Chef is definitely not the place to go.
Yeah. So right now, as an adult, what's your favorite meal? Is it still Chinese?
I would have to say my favorite meal, I would have to say, yeah, it still falls into the Chinese food area. I'm a big rice person, so anything that I can saute and put on a bed of rice is definitely a plus. I'm a big cooker. I love to cook. My kids are big sushi fans. So that's a meal that's always a constant, like at least once a week. We go get the sticky rice, and we're making the chicken, and we got the green onions and the jalapenos and the cottage cheese, and we're not doing authentic, we're Americanizing it. So they got, there's shrimp, and, putting tuna fish in it. And so that's definitely, we're big on international foods. Like you'll very rarely see like us with hamburgers or anything like that. We like foods that have some culture to it, some spice. So definitely Chinese food.
You're primarily the one cooking, or are your kids or husband or?
I cook with my babies because I want my son and my daughter to be proficient in the kitchen. Right. My daughter actually wants to be a chef. So I'll put her in the kitchen sometimes, and she'll concoct something, or I'll make something and we do the name, the spice, and she'll like be able to taste and pull out the names of what I put into the food. And she's getting really good at it. We've been doing it for about a year. My son, he loves to cook. He does stuff like, he just makes stuff up. Like one day he made grits for me, and it was really good. But then he, for some reason, put cream into the grits. So when he first brought it to me, I was like, what are you trying to do here? He said, Mom, just try it. It's really good. And it was funny because it was the cream and the grits were kind of like not really mixed together, but you could see the butter on it, and you could see, that he put some honey in it, and it was outstanding. So, my daughter's the wannabe chef, own her own restaurant. My son is probably going to be like, the laboratory experiment, cook for his family, just coming up with weird stuff and telling them to eat it, and just kind of standing there with his eyes big as circle.
Yeah.
So, but no, I love to cook. My husband, he's a great breakfast food cooker, like outstanding. His pancakes, is will make you want to harm somebody. But other than that, I'm just saying, they're when I go to hell, they're gonna dangle those pancakes over my head. That's gonna be my torture. But other than that, I'm the one in the kitchen, and then for me, that's my peace. That's where I'm happiest. So yeah, I'm the cooker.
What's your fondest memory from childhood?
My fondest memory from childhood. I would have to say my sister. My sister was a very absent-minded kid. She passed away when she was 33. But she just wasn't one of those kids that was very responsible. Like, she would lose her lunch money, she would lose her keys. One day she came to my classroom and she was in tears. And we went in the hallway and she said, "I forgot my lunch." And she was crying, balls of tears coming down her eyes. And I'm just like, "Oh, okay, it's okay." And we went up to lunchroom and we just used my lunch money. We got a lunch and we sat down and we were eating lunch together. That's my baby sister, thought nothing of it. As we're midway through lunch, my mom comes in. Now, my mom is a pretty woman. When I say pretty, you think of Jack Hay, like 227. And back then it was like the 80s. That's how she dressed. So here comes my mom in from work. She's coming through with 2 bags of McDonald's, coming in. And she goes, "They told me Bianca, lost her lunch or didn't have lunch. So I'm bringing you guys lunch." And we're like, "Mom, we got it covered." And she goes, "Oh, well, here." And so we're all sitting at the table, with my mom looking astounding and my baby sister with a great big smile on her face. And we were just in that moment. And my mom to this day brings it up. And she was like, "I was just so proud of you guys. Your sister knew where to go. You took care of your sister." And she said, "Then I come in here and I'm all worried about you guys and you guys took care of each other." And that was a really, really good memory. And I tell that story to my kids all the time. I'm about to get emotional because I'm really big on them making sure they take care of each other. Your sibling you'll never get another one, especially if it's just 2 of you. So yeah, that's a good memory.
Yeah, no, that's a great memory. Do you miss anything about being a child?
I miss how simple it was. I'm one of those people where I feel like nothing I get in life comes real simple. Nothing comes real easy. I've always had to fight for things in my life. When I was a kid, I wish then I would have, everybody always says, I wish I knew then what I know now. I would have appreciated it more. And especially the time of my sister.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where the older sister, younger sister thing. I just wish I would have treated her better and valued that time. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, those are some good memories. How do you think your childhood helped groom you into the person you are today?
I think, well, my father, in my early teens, decided to change his sexuality. So my father gradually and then all of a sudden abruptly went from being, dad to being this other entity. Now this progression was something that was coming over time. And because my father was stuck in a persona, he wasn't always the nicest guy. And my mom, battling with her own types of depression, she wasn't always the most loving or attentive person. So I went from being, a kid to being like the person in charge, making sure Bianca was okay and making sure the house was okay and making sure chores and things like that were okay. I think my childhood made me very independent. It made me very observant. And it definitely made me very accepting, like, of people and their situations. My mom was a psychologist, so we kind of had some insight into personalities, the benefit of that education because of my mom's profession. And it was, even though it was not easy for me to go through as an individual, it was also not easy to see, the people in my family go through these transitions. I would never want somebody, I would never want my son to think that he had to be stuck in a persona, and that persona making him miserable, and then in connection making his spouse miserable, and then in connection them making their children miserable. So I do my very best to just be that one person that says, hey, come as you are, definitely come as you are. And, the rest, we're all figuring out as we go. So if somebody don't like it, to hell with them. Yeah. And I think that my childhood gave me that openness and that ability to wear blinders proudly when it comes to any type of differences causing hate or dislike in me. I fully embraced, like, people of all shapes and sizes, weirdnesses or normalities, whatever you want to call it. So,
yeah, well, that's good. What do you from both your mom and your dad, what are some of the most important lessons you learned from them?
I would say the thing that I take from them the most is strength and endurance. Like I said, again, I have not had an easy life. There's obstacles that I've had to overcome, and I didn't necessarily meet those obstacles with the honor or the right decision. I went through a batch of 5 years of alcoholism, dealing with some of the things that have been done to me. And at the end of the day, at the end of that particular journey in my life, my parents were always, a pillar of strength. Even if it was not for me, it was definitely for my children. It was definitely for my sister, when she was going through what she went through. It was definitely, evident when my father had to go through what he went through when he decided to make his sex change. There was so much ridicule, and there was so much backbiting, and so many people turned their back on my father. And then my mother, being still married to him, and in the face of this public change, having to stand there and support my father, and then take all of the ridicule that came along with that. To this day, my family is proudly not the norm. And I rock my oddity with the utmost, pride. And my parents gave me that, regardless of anything else that happened in my life. I value my relationship with them to this day, because they gave, out of all of that, that's what they gave me. And that's what I'm passing on to my children. And that's what my children are going to bring into the future. They're going to be some awesome, fearless, get out of my way type kids, because every day I instill in them that strength that my parents inadvertently, poured into me. And I mean, once you get there, there's no stopping you. So I'm trying to get them there as soon as possible. You're leaders. Now that's what I want them to be. So I got that from my parents.
Nice. What are your favorite things to do for self-care?
Self-care. I am I'm big on family, and definitely the kids and me and the hubby, and doing just strange things. Or I wouldn't even say strange things, just family oriented stuff. My husband will tell you there's nothing for his wife to, spend $500 on a weekend, in Cincinnati, where, just going odd places, like going skating, going, ice skating, going skiing, going to, a lake and, renting a cabana, or going to a dine-in theater or a drive-through theater or amusement parks or mini golf. Those are the things that get a kick out of. We have, yearly rituals where we go ice skating, or, when we go to at least 3 or 4 haunted houses. And, so definitely family oriented things that are going on in Cincinnati. 9 times out of 10, you'll see the Verdine family there because that's how I self-care. But also I do shut down. Like I told you, like at 6 o'clock, like, no, we're not doing anything if it's not couch related or kid related. And the kids need to be couch related too. It's just it's not going down. Because I stay busy. I try to jam pack as much as I can from 4 a.m. until 6 o'clock. Yeah. And that's just jam full of work, kids, family, shopping, business, everything. But then, once 6 comes around, I gotta shut down so that when I wake up in the morning, I can do it all over again. Because it doesn't stop, like in any way, shape, or form. But
so, I mean, that's great. So when you shut down, what do? It's just like you said earlier to me. Are you just laying on the couch, just watching TV?
Yeah, I'm definitely a Netflix, Prime, Hulu-ish type person. Right now I'm stuck on Prime. It's awesome. And Star Trek, I'm a Trekkie. So when I found out that Star Trek Discovery was on Prime, it's a wrap. And Picard is on, man, don't even play with me. And then the Lower Decks, the Star Trek cartoon, y'all messing with me right now. So when I found out that, I'll get something that I really like to eat. Like my husband, he spoiled me recently with Cincy crab. And I'm on the couch. And they'll tell you, like, the TV's watching mom again. No, I'm woke. Don't touch my remote. I'm listening. I don't touch my remote, and my family is, fabulously, will allow me to have that block of time to where we know she's not watching TV, but just leave a woman alone because we want to go skating this weekend or we want to go out, so-and-so this weekend. So if we don't let her recharge her battery, it ain't happening. So yeah, I definitely I like my couch lizard time. It's a plus.
Nice. What are some things you do for self-growth?
Well, I'm a psychology student. I'm working on my master's in industrial and organizational psychology. I'm also a recovering alcoholic or a recovered alcoholic. So I'm a big person on self-assessment. I don't necessarily hold a lot of investment in regret. I can't because I found that it stifles me too much. What I do is I look at situations and I have bipolar manic 1 disorder. So I spend a lot of time managing how I feel, managing, how quickly I speak, managing, if I'm reacting properly to the situation, managing my anger, managing how passionate I am. So for growth, I spend a lot of time making sure that I accept, where I am in my growth. I read a lot. I like to keep myself abreast of what's going on in the world. I like to attend seminars where, it talks about, being a good leader. I don't always agree with what, some people say, but I like the fact that people have all these different points of view on how to be a good leader, on how to be, a successful person. And each day I assess where I am, you know what I mean? And making myself comfortable with where I am. And the more comfortable I am, I found the further I go. And the further I go, the less afraid I am, I should say, just to be, who I am in the situation. And the less I look for other people's, ooh, bravo, Tralana, you're such a great person. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for being as transparent and being as honest as possible within that situation. And like it, love it, or leave it. that for me is growth. Me being comfortable with my actions, not so much another person being comfortable with my actions. I don't really care.
Yeah. You mentioned, you attend a lot of leadership seminars and, you're engaged in that world. But you also mentioned that you don't necessarily agree with some of the ideas that are, expressed. So what is one of the, I guess, leadership ideas that you disagree with?
The biggest one that I disagree with is the concept that there are leaders and there are followers, or there are chiefs and there are Indians. I don't believe in that concept. I believe we are all leaders. I believe we are all, conquerors. Everybody wakes up of their own esteem and breaches this life of their own accord. And right or wrong, confident or, self-conscious, that individual is making that conscious decision every single day. So that act alone, makes you a leader. Opening up your eyes and taking that first step out of bed, that makes you a leader. I think that from there, manifesting that concept that you're a leader the minute that you start processing, I think a lot of people need to start grasping that. And I don't think that that's spread across the board enough. I think people are in the mindset that you have to become a leader. I don't think enough people are in the mindset that they already are a leader. And all you have to do is continue to hone whatever is special about you. And it's not something that you have to acquire because you saw somebody else do it. There's no blueprint on how you do it. It kind of just becomes. And then you have to accept the fact that a lot of these things, a lot of these manifestations that people are walking into are pure chance. And that's okay. You can be a giant in your own space. You don't have to be, a Trump or an Oprah or, I'm trying to think of somebody else, famous and kind of asinine, but you don't have to be, a big name. If you wake up and think you the shit, guess what, baby? That's what you are. And I think that concept needs to be spread, a little bit more. I think we put so much on staples and likes and hearts and whether or not somebody went viral to where we lose the concept that at the end of the day, the very, very end of the day, baby, you will always be enough. And that needs to be nurtured. And that's what I think is missed in a lot of these seminars. Yeah.
So have you, with that said, have you considered speaking at these seminars or holding your own seminar on this concept of pretty much, so I'm just going to tell you the title of this video is going to be a giant in your own space, because it's what you just said.
I like it.
So so with that, that framework of being a giant in your own space, have you considered, going deeper into that? Even, I mean, it could be even, writing articles about it,
Right. I definitely think that I'm a speaker, and it is something that I've thought about. Like I said, I have a pretty extensive history, very interesting life. And I think that was part of the reason that I went to psychology, and especially why I chose industrial and organizational psychology, because it's all about, integration. It's all about inclusion. It's all about diversity. It's all about that balance, within the workplace. And I think too often people are not individuals. They are put into a form that is quote unquote suitable for success. And what I would like to do is introduce, into some of these companies that are still stuck in this cookie cutter process, the fact that people that are unique and a little bit outside the norm and those individuals that make you raise an eyebrow are perhaps, the ones that, you should be taking a look at it and attempting to bring into, your workforce to shake things up a little bit, and then also reinforcing those people that are a little bit outside of their circle to continue to be, outside of your circle, be naturally you all of the time. And it's possible to have these intricate personalities in the workplace and have them bring life, into a place where other people may feel stifled or confined. Have, those people that are a little bit more outrageous and a little bit more boisterous in your workplace, because guess what? It's going to breed other people to be more boisterous and outspoken and bring ideas to the table. How often do people hear their supervisors say, we want to hear your input, but secretly that no, we don't really want to hear your input, but we said it. So I don't want that to be the underlying, norm anymore. I want, companies to say, hey, we want your input and actually mean it. And I don't want them to be afraid of people who are a little bit outside of that norm. I want them to embrace it. Hell, there's probably leaders out there that are outside the norm, they damn self, but they've been so stuck, in this cookie cutter, formation that they thought they needed in order to succeed. They've only brought half of themselves to the story. Yeah. And these companies could be so much, further if people were able to bring their whole selves. And, so I definitely, I'm thinking about it. And I definitely have started to research going down the consulting field. But I also want to make sure that I have the credentials behind my name, so that not only, when I speak, am I speaking from experience and speaking in an informed nature. I have the credentials behind my name to say, she's a little kooky, but she's smart as hell, and here's the proof that says it. Because that, unfortunately, is what society wants. And to get my message across, if that's what they need, that's what I'll give them. But also I don't devalue the knowledge I've acquired. I look at people completely different. And I think I have an understanding that reinforces my thought pattern that we need to just allow people to come as they are and nurture that and allow it to be a strength rather than a weakness.
Yeah. I might know the answer to this, but I'll ask anyway. If you were to write a book, what would it be about?
If I was to write a book, what would it be called? She Once Was a Flower. She once was a flower. And I say that because for a very long time, I had an idea of what I was supposed to be like as a woman or as a young girl. And as I've come into my adulthood, I'm 40 now, I'm so far from that reality that, to me, it's amazing because I never thought I would be in the space that I am personally. There's so many limitations I put on myself, and these were all just social norms. Don't laugh too loud. You're a lady. Don't eat all the food on your plate. You're a lady. Don't talk loudly. You're a lady. Don't cuss. You're a lady. You could be smart, but don't be too smart. You can be, don't be aggressive because people will that people will shy away from that. Don't be, too creatively outrageous. People won't accept you. I wear an undercut. I don't know if you can see it. I have an undercut. So my sides are shaved. I cannot tell you how many times people have told me in the professional in a professional space that my haircut would stop me from getting any further in my career. My haircut is going to completely overshadow the fact that I am a highly intelligent, kind-hearted, open-minded, intuitive, dramatically bold individual. Is all going to be overshadowed because I chose to shave the sides of my head. Okay, we'll go with that. But I'm not that. I'm just, if you could have met me years ago, you'd be like, this is not the same person. This person is, and this person over here is damn near committable, like almost there. We need to put her behind bars. But yeah, I would say she once was a flower would be.
Nice, nice. So what do you do in your professional life? And does what you do in your professional life, is it any different than what you imagine or what you dream about doing as a kid?
I would say, yeah. My mom was very, part of my whole cookie cutter philosophy is branching from my mom, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. She had the whole Cosby thing going on, for her, get A's, you're going to grow up to be a doctor. I was even pre-med for a year and a half in college, chasing my mom's, dream. My mom later in life became a MD. Me, I've always been creative. I've always been out the box. I've always been a little bit different. It does not surprise me that I went into a humanity. I think it suits me, but it's still the medical field, but it's not the medical field that, that my mom was ramping me up for, a surgeon or, pediatrician. That was more, the sights that I had for myself when I was, coming straight out of high school. But yeah, completely not so much different, but different.
Yeah. Is there something on your bucket list to learn or do?
Is there something, one more time?
On your bucket list to learn or do?
Something on my bucket list to learn and do.
Or do.
Yeah. I definitely would love to spend at least 5 to 10 years, if I could, in Asia, just kind of exploring their culture. I'm a huge fan. I don't try to assimilate, anything. When I do try to do anything that's along the any line of, Chinese, Japanese, it's more of a homage. When we, like when we make sushi, we're looking up authentic recipes, we're trying to go and we're trying to make it, as authentic as possible. I just love their disciplines. I love the beauty of the culture. I love the beauty of the people. And I just would definitely like to get my hands into their history. Also, my line of education is psychology. They are like the epicenter, for medicine. A lot of the Western ideals, derive themselves from Asia. So my bucket list definitely spend some, not just go and check it out, but live there, like, yeah, engulf myself in the culture.
Nice. Is there anything you want to unlearn?
Unlearn?
Yes.
I would like to, no, I won't even say that. I was going to say that I like to unlearn my tolerance for alcohol, but no, believe it or not, that stint in my life brought me so far. I'm really thinking, what would I like to unlearn? I don't think there's anything that I would want to unlearn. I good, bad, ugly, yeah, everything I've acquired, it led to something that created this person that's sitting before you in front of this camera. Yeah. So I'm good.
Nice. Okay. Can you think of any advice that you would give your younger self?
The younger me, my God, there's so much. Don't fear. My biggest obstacle in life has been fear. I've been afraid of so much in my life. And it took me to the grand old age of 40 to learn how to say fuck you. And I wish it was a word, I wish that was a phrase that I would have had when I was younger. There was so much promise in that young lady, but she was so freaking scared of everything. Just, Tralana, no, don't be afraid. It's unnecessary. Feel it, yes. Get over it and press forward. What's the worst they gonna do? Let's be honest. What's the worst somebody gonna do?
It's great advice. Great advice. Well, what's the best money advice you've received?
The best money advice I've received?
Yeah.
Spend it all. Fuck it. No. The best money advice I have received, though, is not short. It's very close to that. The best money advice I received, I'm a renter. And I know lots of people are going to say, no, you need to own a home. No, that's for you. What's for me is to rent, because I like calling people and saying, this shit is broken, come fix it. I pay rent, take care of it. So I would say the best advice, though, is definitely invest in the long term, but you bust your ass, spend it. Spend it on things you love. Spend it on people you love. Do your research, so that what you buy, will last and you can keep it, but spend it, travel, treat yourself. You only get, believe it or not, our lives are incredibly short. Enjoy it. Work, jobs come and go. Believe me, they're out there. You bust your ass hard enough, they're a dime a dozen. Jobs will come and go. Your experiences, no. Have those. Spend money on those.
Yep. What has been the toughest thing you've had to tackle, and what helped you get through it?
The hardest thing I've had to
tackle, and what helped you get through it?
I would say the hardest thing I've had to tackle in my life. Well, can I say two?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. The first one I would have to say is dealing with abuse and rape. That took me down a very dark rabbit hole. For a person that was already not established in who she was, somebody that was already questioning, her worth, that had no idea, of who she was. When those two things happened to me, it was almost like they continued to happen, like for 5 years straight, and me dealing with that was my alcoholism, numbing it. And then in that process, I had already had my babies. They were very small. And in the process of me being lost in the midst of that, I lost them. However, they went to my family and they take care of them. They love them. But I remained lost because my children were, of course, the focus. So I had to find myself in the midst of that. And it was one of the hardest, most enlightening things I've ever done in my life. There's things that I have done that I should hang my head and be like, my God. And there was a point in time where I did do that, but that pain bred a different person. That pain bred a person that is fearless, bred a person that wish a motherfucker would, bred a person that speaks, her truth, bred a person that definitely knows that, like I said, what's the worst somebody can do? The worst has already been done to you, Tralana, so you might as well shoot your shot. And it took me 5 years of pain to come through that. And believe it or not, the day that I stopped drinking, I literally woke up, walked outside at dawn, looked up at the sky, and started laughing hysterically. And at the time, I was praying to God, and a voice came to me and said, I'm going to give you a different way, and I need you to run. And that's what I did. And that day, I stopped drinking, and I haven't picked up since. And I've never had that much conviction in anything else in my life. I can't lose weight to save my life. But for some reason, I woke up that day and I never picked up again. Go figure. Yeah. The other thing I would say was losing my sister. I lost her just as I got sober, just as I was getting my kids back, just as life was bringing itself together, just as I was making amends, just as I was going to say, hey, Bianca, I'm going to be there for you. My sister was ill for years. And just as I got sober, she said, I've had enough. And she passed away. And that was 5 years ago. I still haven't been able to mourn it because I was in the midst of my sobriety. I was on a mission, getting my children back, on a mission, reestablishing my life, on a mission to become this person that I am today. And you'll catch me thinking about her. I talk to her constantly. And I don't think I've accepted that she's gone, but I don't think I've accepted that she's gone, if that makes sense. Yeah. There's still a part of me that wants to make a phone call, or there's still a part of me that thinks a phone call is going to come through and she's going to be on the other side of that call. Yeah. So that's the two hardest things. Do I need to change my lighting? It got dark fast.
No, it's fine. It's up to you. It's fine.
I can.
You say you can?
Babe, can you cut the kitchen lights on for me? Put the light on over where you at. Where is the light? Oh, never mind. I swear I know where the lights are in my house. What's sad is the light switch is on my husband's side of the bed, so I don't ever use it. My lights are over there by my dresser, and we're gonna stick with that.
Where do you feel the most at home and happy?
I feel the most at home and happy wherever my husband and kids are. Yeah. They definitely are my world. When I got sober, my only endeavor was to get my kids back. And I had so many obstacles in my way. If it wasn't my own family stopping me from getting my kids, it was, my daughter's father, standing in the way. It wasn't so much that they didn't trust me. It was more that they didn't want to relinquish the control that they had, not only over my kids, but also over me. When you're a drunk, you don't really care, how you get to your means to an end. You just as long as you get to your drug of choice, you good. So, having, trying to jump through these hoops like a trained puppy, was their norm. So, the fight for my children was a 5-year battle. And it's just now coming to an end. So anywhere my babies are, I'm good. And my husband, that is a tower of strength there. He literally has been a brick wall to let me fight these battles. If there was anything else going on in my life or coming at me, Vessel was standing in front of it. He was like, nah, she's got a mission. So y'all with this extracurricular bullshit, y'all need to go east and west because she's on a mission. And for that, along, with, of course, other things that makes him the wonderful asshole that he is. Because you ever see those t-shirts that, my husband is the best asshole you will, the sweetest asshole you will ever meet. He has one of those. But I for that though, I'll never be able to express to him how much I love and respect him for being that continuous brick wall for me. So, we could be on the brink of poverty. My son, my baby girl, my husband. As long as I got them three people, I'm Gucci.
Yeah, no, that's good. What qualities or character traits do you admire in other people?
Do I admire in other people?
Yeah.
You got to be open. People that are open, like, we gravitate to each other. Like, we kind of know, like, hey, I can say this in front of so-and-so because she's going to know that that's just who I am. Open and being accepting of others. People that are non-judgmental, those traits are just, they're priceless and need to be nurtured. People that are able to think outside the box and question norms, people who question, that's a beautiful trait. I love people that ask the question why. Not necessarily when it's my kids, because mama said it and that's all you need to know. But when they get older, I'm going to say, I was wrong when I said that, right? But you didn't even know that when you was 11 and 12. I said what I said. But definitely people that like to question, that like to push that envelope. Curiosity is beautiful. I love curious people. And I'm that type of person where I'll draw my line in the sand, when you're being too invasive. But I think that's what people are afraid of. They don't like, curious people because they don't know how to draw their line in the sand. You have every right to draw your line in the sand. And if that person's being curious, it's because they want to know more. Hopefully they want to know it in earnest, But curiosity, open-mindedness, and just not being judgmental. I love those traits in people.
And what traits are red flags that you try to stay away from?
Well, I would have to say the exact opposite. Closed-minded people, definitely controlling people. I think the one thing in life that will make you the most miserable is not accepting the fact that you don't control anything. The only thing you can control in this world is what you do and how you react to what is happening to you. You walk around here thinking you can control people, you're gonna be miserable. You walk around here trying to think you can push your thought process on another, you're gonna be miserable. You can say something completely dipped in gold, but guess what? If that person has set in their mind that what's coming out your mouth currently is bullshit, that's what they gonna believe. And you will drive yourself crazy trying to convince another person that you are right.
Yeah.
The best thing you could do is say what you said and hope that if you didn't get through, maybe later on somebody else will. Or maybe something in life will change that person's perception. But yeah, don't waste your time pouring into others that have no intention of pouring back into you. It's a waste of time.
Well said. Well said. All right, for a fun question.
Okay.
If you won the lottery tomorrow, what will you do?
If I won the lottery, I would invest in the company I currently work for, demand to become a partner, and then get my footholding with them for 6 months, and then after that, definitely take that 30-day vacation someplace beautiful and cold, believe it or not.
Really?
Like, go to Norway. My husband hates it when I say that. go to Norway, Ireland, go to one of those beautiful castles and rent that bad boy out and just let my kids run rapid, learn some history, just go and get lost in some fields, right on the horse, get thrown off of it, just, one of those type of adventures,
Yeah.
that you can't replicate,
Yeah. Are you a winter person? Do you love the winter?
I love what you can do in winter. Like I love snow. Even though I can't ice skate, I love seeing my kids out there ice skating. I love the aesthetics of snow. The ugliest, scenery can be turned majestic with the proper coating of snow. And I'm big on castles and tapestries and those places tend to be in the colder regions. So yeah, definitely a winter chick. And then not to mention the fact I'm fluffy, so I get to layer up and hide some of the fluff. So winter does us fluffy chicks perfect. My makeup stay in place, my hair don't be sweated out. So yeah, I could deal with the 40 below.
I know a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people. Obviously, with this interview series, and I honestly have never heard the framing of fluffy. And I love it. Yeah, I'm gonna. I like that. That's good. That's I like that.
I'm telling you, the ladies like that. They were like, man, you got some, authentic fluffiness going on for you, and I'm loving it.
Oh man, that's good. That's good.
I'm gonna coin that.
Yeah, you should. That's really good. All right, when I say forgiveness, what comes to mind?
Forgiveness.
Yeah.
Whew. Forgiveness, responsibility. It's really easy to say you're sorry. I've said it a lot of times in my life, and I try not to say it anymore, only because in my mind, it doesn't really hold any weight. If I'm truly sorry, I'm not going to say it. The next time I come at you, my behaviors are going to be different. How I perceive you or the situation that we're in is going to be different because I know that I fucked up somewhere. For others, I dole out forgiveness like water. But I'm aware. I'm always aware. And then if you fuck me over again, I made that choice knowing that you were possibly going to do it again. But I dole it out like water. I don't have a capacity to hold a grudge. It's not how I was built. And I don't put stock in it. I don't, and at the end of the day, for real, you don't need my forgiveness. You really don't. People want it because they want to remain in my circle, but at the end of the day, you don't need it. So for me, it's responsibility. If you're truly sorry, you'll act it out. And if you want others in your life, you accept them where they are and you forgive them unconditionally because you want them in your life. You make that conscious choice to keep them in your life. So why hold back from it?
Indeed. So you have 2 kids.
Yes.
And what values are you hoping to imprint on them?
For my son, I want him to always know how valued and how strong he is without someone having to tell him. I want him to know that as his mother, my job is just to love him. Vessel is going to teach him, how to walk into his godliness, how to, take care of his family, how to rule his own life. I just want my son to know that he is valued, no matter where he is in his life, and that value does not diminish due to actions or due to worldview. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with the person that's on your arm. Every day, I want my son to wake up knowing he's powerful. And I reinforce that with him continuously, even when he is bad as all get out. And Langston will try your patience, and you will question your sanctity in front of my son. But even at his worst, I'll correct him, and then I'll tell him, in a split second, come here, let me kiss on you, let me love on you. He has a heart, and I want it to beat every single day. And I want him to know that he's human and feel, you don't have to be anyone or anything but Langston. And that's all I want for him. For my daughter, very much the same, but in a different capacity. My daughter has little walls that she has up. She's not a very trusting person at the ripe old age of 12. For my daughter, I want her to be compassionate. Compassion is a difficult thing to have and be genuine with. People can feign compassion, walk around and give money to the poor, or drop food off to the food bank, or put $1 in somebody's cup, as they're walking down the street. True compassion is a way of life. It's something that you do on a regular basis. I want my daughter to know that it's okay to have a heart that is completely open, but still protected. It's all about knowledge. And that's what I think that I am trying to master. Through everything that I've been through, I should be bitter. I should be angry. I should be protected and distant and shitty. But I'm just not. And I have a heart for those that haven't gotten this far, emotionally or mentally, and I know that struggle of being on the other side. And I want my daughter to know that pain's going to come, and it's okay. You're going to deal with it. You're going to feel it. You're going to process it. You may sometimes even wallow in it, but you're going to come out of it. And I need that to be instilled in her, that she's going to come out of it. Because too many times in my life, I didn't think I was going to make it to the other side, because there was nobody telling me that I was. And so I want my daughter to know that.
Yeah. Those are great, great things to imprint on your kids. Is there anyone that you would like to thank or express your appreciation for that you haven't had the chance to yet?
The only person that I haven't had to thank, but I have thanked, but the only person that I haven't truly thanked is my sister. Because as I said, when I was coming into my sobriety, she was just deciding to leave this earth, or this state of being. I never got to say to her while we existed on the same plane, thank you. Because from the minute that I fell down that rabbit hole, my sister was constantly telling people around me, and I didn't find this out until after she had passed. Tralana's going to be back. Tralana's going to make it. She's going to be okay. Whatever she's going through, Tralana will be back. You just need to let her go where she needs to go and support her as best you can from a distance. And my parents didn't realize at the time that the best way for me to heal was for them to let me go. They tried to control everything I did. which just made me fight all the harder because they couldn't understand where I was coming from, and I couldn't tell them, everything. My story was brutal, and every time I tried to breach it with it, my mother would fall into tears, and my father would stand there in disbelief, and I didn't have the emotional, stamina to comfort them when I was over here in bits and pieces. Mm-hmm. So when my sister, would talk to me, she wouldn't say much of anything, she would keep it frank with me. But she was always telling, my father and my mother, Tralana's going to be back. She's going to be okay. And I think that was part of them finally letting me go and go through my process. And I never got to say, Bianca, thank you, for believing in me. Thank you for being the catalyst for that release. Because the chains that were holding me down, I would have pulled out from under them eventually, but only God knows what would have resonated after that. Maybe I would have ended up being bitter, angry. Maybe the struggle would have killed me. I just never got a chance to tell, hey, I'm here. I crossed that line, or crossed a line. So, and thank you for believing that I would be here, that I would make it here.
Yes. For our final question, how do you define success?
However you define success. My definition of success is sitting here talking to you about my life, my kids, chilling on their phones, completely ignoring every single thing I say. My husband, relaxing on the couch. My cat, Houdini, who jumps on the counters when he shouldn't, is resting on my husband's stomach probably. I work a job that I love. I have dreams, I have aspirations, whether I get there or not. Success for me is what I'm sitting in right now. People gonna have to define that for themselves. Don't look to somebody else to define your success, because it's fruitless. They're not gonna give you the right answer. And people that think they can give you the right answer, they're just arrogant, self-righteous pieces of shit. So don't listen to them. Those are the people that you can figure out. It's just whatever it is, and sometimes it's beautiful, and sometimes it sucks, and sometimes it's confusing, and sometimes it's straightforward. You figure that out. I can't tell you because I'm all over the damn place. But that's success for me. I got homework. That's my success. And that's real. Yeah. I'm rocking Tralana, and for me, I'm comfortable with me. Yeah. And for me, that's success, because I could really care less and not, crapping on nobody else's parade. I care less if you don't like what you see. Yeah. I like me, and that is success for me.
Great answer. Well, we connected, we politicked.
Yes.
And it was a blast, and hopefully we'll do this again in the near future. Thanks for the great conversation.
I'd be honored, Mike. Thank you so much. It's been an experience, and I wish you the very best with this endeavor. You're gonna turn some heads with this project, bro.
Thanks a lot.